a lot of women say they rule the roost when it comes to matters of motherhood and being at home. But our next guest, when she lays down the law there with divorce court, the kids listen. Her name is Lynn Toler, the judge of divorce court.
Right.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're talking about your book, by the way. It's called My Mother's Rules. And one of my favorite things about this, which will resonate with mothers and people who are not parents,
right,
maybe yet, is that this all can boil down to emotion. And you say we all have control of that.
We all have control over our emotions. And most people don't respect it for what it is. When you really blow a call in life, it's not usually an intellectual problem. It's an emotional problem. You know what you need to do, but you can't act in a capacity that allows you to do that. That's how most people found themselves in municipal court. And that's why I realized that emotional control and emotional education is something that we're missing, but we need.
How do you get there? Because, you know, it's sort of like business. You know, it always seems like the men in my life that my dad always used to say, take your emotion out of it.
Right.
But it's so difficult for women. How do we do it?
We do it by practicing. We practice when things aren't when we aren't upset. And that's why I have this book, because it's rules about how you decide how you're going to feel. Take emotional inventory at given points of the day. What am I feeling? And how did I get there?
We never do that.
Never do that. And give it voice. Before you get to the office, say to yourself, my husband really made me angry. The kids were crazy. I am not going to yell at my boss. You put a period between the two because you have an emotional job to do before you walk in that door.
You know, by saying that, Lynn, actually, you just, for me personally, you just breathe in, breathe out, and take that time to do that. Because it resets whatever your agenda is for the day.
Absolutely. And you have to realize how much your emotions are in charge of what you do, and practice when you don't need them. So when you do need to call up the right emotion, you've got it available for you.
Okay, when you're talking about motherhood, because I would imagine we've got some mamas watching this morning, when the kids are on our last nerve,
right,
what do you recommend we do?
Okay. Well, first of all, you have to realize that when your kid's on your last nerve...
Not that it happens all the time.
Not that it happens all the time.
But if we're being real here...
And it does. Your sanity has value. You have to remember that. We always think we have to be perfect all the time. Sometimes you can put them somewhere, sit them down, you be quiet till mommy gets it together. And because your sanity is primary. Because if you go, everybody goes.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I mean? You get assistance from your spouse when they come back in. And I got to tell you, these days, there's nothing wrong with the word no. My mother and father said no to me a great deal. We tend to be afraid of it these days. No, you can't. I'm not taking it. Is a perfectly valid statement.
How do we give parents more permission to do this? Because I agree with you, but it's, you know, a lot of times we've got parents trying to be friends with their kids. And that is tough.
Oh, and you know what? And I see them in court all the time. People who were trying to be friends with their children, talking about, you know, well, it's not his fault and this and it. Let them lose. Let them fall down. Tell them no. They like those constraints.
Kids will say that.
It works for you. It works for them. And if they're happy all the time, you're probably not doing your job. Your job is not to make them happy all the time. Your job is to make them prepared to make themselves happy when they're grown.
Ooh, that is big. That is big. Well, all these tips are in this book, and it is a pleasure to sit down and visit with you because you have such great insight. And by the way, in the book you say that your mother's rules were all about the proper emotion, and that this was all about obeying those rules and then finding that place in those moments to be able to move forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We will be right back with more Good Morning Arizona right after this.